Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome to the boudoir. This is your girl, Just Lovely. As you can see by the title, we're here to talk about the Menendez brothers. Y'all remember that trial? And then I was looking at the trial again last night and was thinking to myself, is that Marsha Clark? No, it wasn't Marsha Clark. But yeah. The reason that I wanted to go live about the Menendez brothers is because the Menendez brothers could be getting off of that life without parole charge. And I wanted to give my thoughts and perspective over the situation or topic. So, with today's times that we're going through right now, a lot of people are looking at the way children are being abused and mistreated within the family, within the industry, and this can set people off to do the unthinkable. And basically, within the trial, they would bring up the fact that the father, Jose, was touching the brothers, the mother, and it was so creepy to me that even with what they were saying at the trial, in the trial, that they even got time. This was a case that I didn't really pay any attention to. This case happened back in 1989. Child, I was in ninth grade. I wasn't paying no attention to this trial. And now that, I'm in my, oh, I'm 50 now, y'all. Now that I'm 50 years old, I myself look at that trial, just looking at the trial itself. It was one of the first trials that they actually televised. We see that more and more today. And this trial was actually on national TV. I'm wondering why I didn't get into it because I was one of them people. Like I told y'all once before, the Gulf War, I was in Gulf. I was actually one of those people that would sit in front of CNN and watch the Gulf War. I used to call it my fireworks show. I know that sounds sickening as hell. But yes, I was one of those people. And I was a teenager at the time. So I was reading this article over on People magazine, and it a lot of people in the true crime world, they're speaking about the Menendez brothers right now because, like I once said in this video, that it could be possible for them to be released. Those brothers have been in prison, gotten married. People actually saw the trial and had a heart for them. And I can tell y'all, I can understand why. The descriptions of the mother and father, yes, they had money, but it was a whole lot of details behind the scenes that maybe wasn't important to people. It was just a fact or a matter that they actually committed a heinous crime. And that's all the courts was worried about. But when you're growing up in a household full of angst and anguish, it could make you do heinous crimes. I did not know that the father Jose was an immigrant from Cuba and he had lived through Castro's regime. And they actually fled to the United States because Castro went communism on them. His mother was she was a athlete. She was honored and persevered in her country. His father was an athlete, and he was also a star athlete in their country. And these people had money until Castro came in and made it into a communist country. So when they fled to the United States, the mother was leaning in her son and saying, "You are better than everybody. You are the top star. You are better than everybody." And he believed it. And he took himself from being a student to a multimillionaire, to the point to where he and his wife Kitty were once living in a small apartment, living with parents in New York, getting their own home and just moving on up. You know, they were living in a small apartment, both of them not having money, both of them leaning on each other, both of them working. And finally, he hit his jackpot. I don't know if you guys remember the Menudos. The Menudos was actually one of Jose's groups. And if you remember the Menudos, they kept changing out the people that was within this musical group. Like you may see, oh yeah, because back then the Menudos was the thing. I had a baby, one of them boys. I was like, "Woo, child, he fine as hell. Woo, he fine." But then all of a sudden he was gone. They said that they kept switching out the boys so that they could have younger boys within the group. So now we getting into this Diddy thing, right? Um, and I never knew that this dad had something to do with that. And they have been indicating that he was a part of the industry to where they would take advantage of these little kids. So that doesn't actually say that just because he take advantage of kids within the industry, kids that he is a part of seeing their growth into the industry, that he would do it to his own children. But it had been documented in the trial that the Eric Menendez would tell his mother oftentimes, "Will you please tell dad to keep his hands off of me? Tell dad to leave me alone. Tell dad it's not okay to touch me." And she would be like, "It's gonna be okay." The thing with Kitty was a lot of times that she would hang out with his brothers and sisters and their kids, would be well behaved while Eric and Lyle are able to do and everything that they wanted to do simply because he thought he was a big shot and she thought she had done hit the jackpot and married a man who was going to be able to get her that house in Beverly Hills, which he eventually did. And the only thing they said that them kids could be running around and Kitty would just be sitting out smoking her cigarettes and drinking her cognac, not paying any attention to those kids. One of the therapists that was speaking about Kitty at the trial, he said he had 16 sessions with Kitty. And Kitty's whole thing was that her husband was cheating on her with a woman named Louise in New York, to the point to where she had to go to New York and stand outside this woman's building just to see what the woman looked like. She walked past so she can get a good look at Louise. And that was her main focus inside the therapy sessions. How angry she was and how suicidal she was that her husband decided that he was going to cheat on her with a woman named Louise. She didn't care nothing about whether or not her husband was fucking around with her sons. It was just the fact that it was another woman invading on her space. he said that she told him that I drink, but I only drink the best. I only drink cognac. The attorney said, so what was the difference between cognac and scotch? And he was saying that she was referencing it as if cognac was for the, the well to do people. I could imagine being raised by Kitty. Kitty stayed drunk. She sobered up to come to my soccer games and to look good in society. But while we was at home, anything can go down. Kitty could be dead ass drunk while Jose was messing with the boys to the point of where the boys actually took them out of here. And now they're serving a lifetime sentence in prison without the possibility of parole. And so now they're saying that they're going to possibly overturn that sentence. So I was reading this article over on People Magazine, and it was like, where are the Menendez brothers now? A look at their life in prison over 30 years after parents' murder. The Menendez brothers murdered their parents in 1989, and allegedly their father abused them. The Menendez brothers, Lyle and Eric Menendez, marked a dark anniversary on August 20th, 2023. It was 34 years since the murder of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. While Jose was an entertainment executive and Kitty a former teacher, watched TV in their Beverly Hills home August 20, 1989. Lyle and Eric shot them point blank range with shotguns, then called 911 on themselves, saying that they came home from a night out and found their parents dead. Intrigued in the case almost immediately with the initial investigations, looking into the mob as a potential suspect, but the notes from the brother's therapist, a gunshot casing, and a screenplay pointed to Lyle and Eric, who prosecutors claim were privileged, spoiled, and eager to cash in on their father's $14 million fortune. Lyle and Eric had three, three separate trials during their alleged that Jose was physically, emotionally, and sexually abusive, and Kitty was addicted to drugs and alcohol and physically abusive and an enabler to her husband that was messing around with her sons. The brothers were both convicted of 2 counts of first degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, but their stories were far from over. Far from over. So I think looking back over the 34 years now of on the trial, Eric and his family and our family was going into a manslaughter case with a district attorney that understood the traumatic impact that sexual violence create in a person. Lyle reflected in the Menendez brother victims or villains, and we ended up with the same sentence as a serial killer. From their motives to the life sentences, here's everything to know about the Menendez brothers. I don't know, guys. Um, I'm gonna put the article to the People magazine in my description bar below if you want to go and read that article for yourself. But for some reason, I actually think that these guys might get out of prison and overcome that life sentence without the possibility of parole. Times has changed, and now they're looking in it in the perspective of today's times, where I'm not saying that we're giving leniency on if you go out and kill someone who has abused you over years of time. But some of these sentences are being lighter and lighter as the years go by. That's my alarm telling me I need to end this video. But these over the years, we the psyche of a person that's been abused, um, have helped some of these people lighten their sentences when it comes to these type of situations. And I honestly agree with that. Some people feel like these guys don't need no overturn of their sentence and they need to continue being in prison for the rest of their lives. They've lived 34 years within the prison cell. And I feel like I don't even think they should have had 30 years. They should have at least got 15. And the reason why I say that is because all the turmoil, they could have been spoiled kids. But if your father is leaving you for your drug addicted, alcoholic mom to raise you up in the way a child should go, and you don't have no structure in your life and you're able to do anything that you want to do, that would bring you as a spoiled child. It would make you be viewed as spoiled and rotten. You don't have no structure as a child. When you're being guided into adulthood, the whole purpose of being parented is so that they can teach you the way that you should go and give you some type of structure in your life. Um, I mean, if you go back and look at this trial, it was a whole lot of abuse, a whole lot of beatings. I learned a long time ago when you whoop children and you beat on children, that don't make them act the way that you want them to. Most serial killers are abused people as children. Am I saying that a serial killer should get off on that? No. At some point in time, their slickness gonna come to an end too. A lot of serial killers were sentenced to death simply because the number of victims that they impacted. If we're gonna go off the count and the number of victims that have been impacted, it seems like to me they killed and attacked their abusers and not just innocent people unknowingly knowing how your childhood came up. So I do believe that these boys need to be let out and they should be able to live the rest of their lives within society. They only had two enemies, and that was their mothers and fathers. I don't think that if they was released from prison, they would attack other people within society based on the fact that other people in society did not sexually, mentally, and physically abuse them. And that's why I feel like I'm one of those people that think that they should be set free. Now, about this marriage, these marriages, because both brothers got wives now. Child, It's one thing to have sympathy about a person, but it's a whole nother thing to write somebody in prison and say that you need to marry them or they propose marriage to you and you accept it. I ain't never understood that. The only thing I could possibly understand about marrying a inmate is the fact that you already know that this person ain't gonna get out of prison, and you should be able to live your life on the outside and just go visit them at least on Easter, child. But if I had a spouse, my spouse gonna have to pull some weight. And on that note, y'all, I'm gonna end because I'm rambling now. But I do. If you're not into the Menendez murder case and what's going on with the Menendez brothers today, I highly recommend, if you're into true crime, go and check out a couple of videos. I would say go check out Crime Weekly. They're doing a series on it right now. Once I end this video, I think I'm gonna go back over there and continue watching part two of the series because I've learned a whole lot about this case based on them and me doing my own research about the case. And on that note, this has been your girl, Just Lovely, coming from the fabulous boudoir, baby. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on what's going on with the Menendez brothers today in the comment section below. And I will see you all on the next video. And if you would like to contribute to the channel, I know I said that wrong. You can at dollar sign just lovely 414 over at the Cash App. And I thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.